everybody, and welcome to the March instalment of the 2023 Mystery Blanket Club. Now, just to make sure you're aware of the launch dates, which I changed from the 1st of the month just to accommodate people who were still waiting for their parcels to arrive. It's March the 10th for Mailout 2, and then from there onwards it's going to be the 1st of the month, so 1st of April, 1st of May, and so on to the end of the project. So I had a few members contact me very worried that they hadn't received their March Mailout, but it's March the 10th. This is the date that we are starting Mailout 2. Now, I want to begin by just reassuring those of you who are still waiting for your parcels to arrive that they are on their way. I have been checking with Royal Mail every single day. I phone them and I inquire about parcels. I have been checking the tracking numbers as well, and I know some of you that are still waiting for your parcels are checking your tracking numbers. Now, one thing I want to say is, if it says when you bring up your tracking number that it just gives the data when it was dropped at the post office and no further movement, that isn't always the case. I am having confirmation of at least 6 to 7 parcels every day being successfully delivered. And many of those, if you check the tracking number, it says they're still in Kimbolton or in the UK waiting to be processed. So the tracking information isn't always up to date. But what I have been advised is that when the parcel reaches its destination country, the tracking information should update. It doesn't always, but it should update, and then it will kick back in, and then you should be able to get the latest information about where your parcel is. I checked every single parcel this morning, which is outstanding, and quite a few of them had been updated to delivered, and some of them to in transit to various different places. So, please bear with us, stick with us. It was an horrendous incident that happened to Royal Mail that sent them into complete chaos. They had thousands and thousands of parcels to process, and many of those are still in the system. So I will keep you updated. Please, as I said, please bear with us. I really appreciate your patience. I understand your frustrations, but we will get there, and everybody will get their parcel soon. Okay, so just a couple of things I want to mention before we take a look at the squares for this month and the extra technical video support which I'm giving you in this month's blog. So I've been told that some balls of pumpkin yarn have the Elfin ball band on, so they've been incorrectly banded. Now, this would have happened at Laxton's in the mill, so I do apologise for this. So just check very carefully that pumpkin is the orange and Elfin is the blue, and not the other way round. So just make sure that when you check off your balls of yarn, when you look at them, that you are looking at the right correct ones. Let me just clarify there that Elfin is code 27 and pumpkin is shade 32, as written on the on page 2 of your Mailout. Now, the mystery title of the Blanket Club has been guessed by so many of you that I'm almost going to have to write a separate blog for all the names of the people who have guessed it correctly. So well done to all of you who have guessed it from the squares so far. Obviously, it was quite an easy one to guess this year, but I do hope that despite maybe guessing the title, you still have a ton of fun knitting it up and making your mystery blanket this year. But thank you to everybody who's written in, and if anybody else can guess it after this month's squares, do let us know, and we will publish your name with your permission in the next blog. So this month I have 4 squares for you to knit. It was going to be 5 squares, but as some members are still waiting for their parcels to arrive, I thought it might be best just to cut that down to 4, so there's fewer to catch up on. It does mean we'll have to bump up one of the later Mailouts with an extra square, but I'm sure that will be fine. Once you've got going with the project, an extra square a month, you'll probably be gratefully received as you'll be hopefully getting to grips with the designs and the different squares. So first of all then, we have in our March mail out, we have square number 17. Now this is a lace square, okay, lace square begins on page 6, using a single colour, using shadow yarn and 2 colours of beads, velvet and indigo. Now there is a technical video to help you with the lace stitches in case this is something you're not too familiar with or you need a little bit of assistance. So do check that out if you need any help with your lace knitting. But it's quite an interesting square to knit. I love designing this one. I don't do a lot of lace work myself, but I really did enjoy combining all the beads in this lace pattern. That's square 17, no options on that square. Okay, the next square is square 22. Which is called Elves and Imps, and there are 2 options for this square. Now it doesn't matter which option you choose, you can choose option 1 or 2 regardless of what you chose for square 8 in the first mail out. It doesn't matter at this point what you choose. And this one for option 1 is a fair old pattern with stripes and some decorative stitches, and in option 2 it swaps to a textured pattern with beads. So you can have a little think about that one, which one you'd rather go for. I think both of them are really pretty, but you'll have to choose just one for your March squares. So the third square to knit this month is square 29, which is autumn cable, all knitted in one colour using pumpkin yarn. Remember that is code 32 on your ball band, okay, and this has lime beads knitted into it using the slip stitch method. So what this means is that you've got to thread your beads onto your yarn before you cast on, and again there's a tech vid this month for threading on beads and for how to knit in beads using the slip stitch technique, so make sure you check those out if you need any help at all with your bead knitting. But once you get going with this, it's got a very strong pattern repeat, and the stitches on the outsides of the cables, of the cabled stitches, are worked through the back of the loop just to crisp them up a bit and make the edges neater. So that's where you'll see P1 TBL and K1 TBL in your instructions. Any abbreviations, of course, check the last page of your mail out in your March mail out. That's on page 23 for any explanations in case you don't understand any of the abbreviations. It's all explained there. The final square for March then is square 43, falling leaves, and you have 2 options for this square. So the option 1 is an intarsia pattern. So intarsia is when you have like a picture knit. That's the sort of simplest way really to describe it, where you'll be using separate balls of colour to knit every separate section of colour. So unlike Fair Isle, you're not carrying yarns across the work, or if you do carry yarns, it's only when it's absolutely necessary. There is a tech vid to help you with this that explains all of this. You'll be able to see me working the first 4 rows of the chart, so give that a look if you need any help, and you might be able to pick up some tips there to help you if you go for option 1. Option 2 is a sort of mini leaf textured pattern that's really quite fun to knit with beads in it, in mini cables, slip stitch beads. So you might want to opt for that one instead. You'll have to take a look and see what you fancy knitting up. Do you fancy learning some intarsia, or do you fancy doing some interesting textured stitches? That decision's up to you, and it doesn't matter which option you go for. You can go for option 1 or option 2, only at a later point in the project. If there is a particular option I would suggest that you knit due to previous options you've chosen, I will let you know. But this one, the world's your oyster. Just choose whichever one you prefer to knit and have fun. It's they're both very interesting to knit, both totally different squares. It's whatever you fancy. Okay, so this month there are 6 new technical videos for you that you can find just after my intro in this blog. So they are there to give you support and advice if you need it with various different techniques. So they're there all the time, so they will stay up on the blog throughout the whole of this project if you do need to dip back into any of them. At the beginning of March, we opened the sign-ups for the 2023 Mystery Cushion Club. And if you are a member of the club this year, you're watching this video, so you probably are, then you receive a 10% discount on your basic membership fee. So that's for everybody that's a Blanket member this year. And then we have an early bird special offer on at the moment. If you sign up before the end of March, you will receive a knitting kit, which will be included with your knitting kit for the mystery cushion when we send it out in June. It's a small, very, very sparkly little purse. You have the option to choose out of 4 different colourways with different coloured beads. It's a small project which will probably take you a few hours to knit, but something fun and something hopefully very useful. So that's on offer for sign-ups before the end of March. So if you haven't signed up yet and you had intended to, it might be an idea to nip along to our online shop and get yourself signed up. We have limited memberships and we've already sold over half of them. Following the tragic loss of a dear friend of ours last summer, we have decided to support the mental health charity Mind. So for every Mystery Cushion membership sold, we will donate £5 out of the profit to this charity. And together we can help raise awareness of mental health issues and give the help to the people who are in desperate need. So thank you for your support. So that brings me to the end of my spoken blog for this month. Please do be sure to read the written blog, as there's lots of extra tips and advice in there for this month's squares, which will help you through this month. I do hope that you enjoy knitting your squares this month, and for those of you that are still waiting for your parcels, I truly appreciate your patience. It will be with you soon. I'm crossing fingers every day that it will be with you, that I'm going to get that email from you telling me the good news that it safely arrives. So be sure to let me know when it does. So until next month, I wish you all happy knitting, and I look forward to seeing you back here on April the 1st for the 3rd instalment of this year's Mystery Blanket Club. Keep those needles clicking away. Have a great month, and I'll see you soon. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.